Weight loss can be extremely difficult if you have a hormonal imbalance. For women, this often looks like high levels of male hormones called androgens or high cortisol. High testosterone in particular is often spoken about, especially in the context of PCOS, but not many people are talking about what causes this high testosterone. When testosterone is high, there is another hormone that's elevated, but this hormone isn't routinely tested. And if it is tested, reference ranges are generally too high, so it flies under the radar. And this hormone is insulin. High insulin is the reason your testosterone is high, and it is also responsible for a lot of the side effects associated with hormonal imbalance. Irregular periods, acne, and skin tags. And for today's purposes, it also makes weight loss very difficult. Insulin is a trigger for telling our bodies to store fat. So when insulin is high, we are storing fat and not burning it for energy. The good news is that we can lower our insulin naturally through small diet and lifestyle changes. And as a result, testosterone and other androgens will lower as well. Helping to balance hormones and weight loss will become a whole lot easier. So let's get into how to do this, focusing on 6 main principles. Number 1 is to eat whole foods whenever possible. This means unprocessed vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, protein, and healthy fat. As I mentioned before, it's high insulin that causes our testosterone to become elevated, and it also causes the other main symptoms of PCOS as well. High insulin blocks your ovaries from converting testosterone into estrogen, leaving you with high testosterone, which is main symptom number 1 of PCOS. When we don't have this increase in estrogen at the right time during our cycle, we don't ovulate, and this causes our periods to become irregular, which is main symptom of PCOS number 2. And not ovulating causes cysts to form on the ovaries, which is main symptom number 3. But if we can lower our insulin levels, which we do mainly by balancing our blood sugar, then these symptoms improve. And here's where whole foods tie in. Processed foods cause a bigger spike in blood sugar than whole foods do. And when we have bigger spikes in blood sugar, more insulin is needed all at once. If we eat a mainly whole food diet, then our blood sugar is going to be more stable, there are going to be fewer swings and crashes, less insulin is going to be needed, and your insulin levels will start to come down over time. Number 2 is to eat low carb foods whenever possible. So this comes back to keeping blood sugar balanced to lower insulin. Lower carb foods cause less of a blood sugar spike than higher carb foods do. Carbohydrates are actually the macronutrient that requires the most insulin to process. So if we can skip or reduce our carbohydrates whenever possible, again, there are going to be fewer swings in blood sugar, less insulin will be needed, and it will come down over time. Number 3 is to be smart about carbs when you do have them. So yes, reducing your carbs is a really effective strategy for balancing your hormones, but you don't have to cut them entirely out of your diet. I know that seems like a really big and overwhelming step for a lot of people. When you do have them, just try to be smart about them. And here's what I mean by that. For starters, try to limit them in your first meal of the day. Try to have a breakfast that's high in protein and fat and a bit lower in carbohydrates. Save them until your second or third meal. Another way to be smart about them is to always pair them with a source of protein and fat. So when we eat carbohydrates on their own, they are broken down rapidly. The blood sugar spike is usually pretty significant, but if we pair it with protein and fat, this slows down digestion and the spike is less significant. And the third thing you can do is to take apple cider vinegar or berberine before you eat carbohydrates. We'll come back to berberine a bit later in the video. Step number 4 is to eat at least 30 grams of protein at every meal, ideally 40 to 50 grams. Protein is key for proper hormone function, and most women are not eating enough of it. I always recommend that women eat at least 30 grams of protein at every meal, and that this ideally come from animal sources. Animal sources are the most bioavailable. You can use a lot more of the protein that is in them than you can from plant sources. And let me tell you, if you are someone who struggles with cravings, if you are someone who feels like you are constantly hungry in between meal, like you always have to be snacking, try to hit this 30 grams of protein at every meal threshold, and you are going to notice a huge difference. Step number 5 is to utilize berberine. Berberine is an over-the-counter supplement that has been scientifically proven to help with hormonal imbalances. It works in a similar way to the prescription drug metformin, which is often prescribed to women with PCOS. You can either take it once a day in the morning or, like we spoke about earlier, before meals that are high in carbohydrates. The berberine that I recommend to my clients is from So Well Health. It is called Get So Balanced. These capsules are formulated to regulate blood sugar and insulin. They help with hormonal imbalances and also weight management. You can check them out by heading to hckate.com/getsobalanced and use code KATE10 at checkout to save 10% off your order. And finally, step number 6 is to try intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is when you spend a period of each day in a fasted state and then a period of each day in a fed state. Usually I recommend with 12 hours of fasting and then the rest you can be in a fed state. But if you can get this up to 14, maybe even 16 hours, that's usually even better. And I just want to mention that fasting isn't about eating less. You still want to be eating enough within your feeding window in order to meet your needs, especially when it comes to protein, which we spoke about earlier. But it is when we are in this fasted state that our insulin levels are lowest. And this is when our cells become more insulin sensitive. So if we can prolong that for a little bit longer every day, this is even better. Now, if you're ready to get your hormones under control and kickstart your weight loss journey, I have good news for you. So Well Health has just launched the Reset Your Weight Biology 90-Day Challenge. When you sign up, you receive 2 of their weight biology kits, which are at-home tests that measure your insulin along with other key biomarkers of metabolic health. So you can take one test at the beginning of the challenge to find your baseline, and then one after 90 days to see your progress. And you receive 3 bottles of Get So Balanced, which is the berberine we spoke about earlier, which helps to accelerate your results. Now, once you do your initial weight biology kit and you send your tests in, you're gonna receive a report through your portal online. This report is going to outline the current state of your metabolic health and your hormones. From there, you get access to So Well Health's Healthy Way of Eating, which provides you different frameworks to choose from to suit your goals and your needs. This challenge has just launched, so I'll put the link in the description box down below if you want to learn more and sign up. And I want to hear from you guys. Have you experienced a hormonal imbalance in the past? What hormones were off? Was there anything you did that helped to correct it? Was there anything you tried that didn't work? Let me know in the comment section down below. I love chatting with you guys there, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.